All right. Hello, my name is Brandon Forte. Uh, my differential open-ended activity is called Tempo Lab. So this Tempo Lab is designed for a secondary choir or integrated grade 6 mathematics setting. All right, so this can be either for sixth grade or it can be for um, 9th to 12th graders. Um, and our focus is on Common Core Standard 7.RP.8.3, which states that we want to use proportional relationships to solve multi-step ratio and percent problems. So, if we were just to unpack that, that means students are going to understand the rate as a ratio of two quantities related units. Students are going to use proportional reasoning to solve real world problems. Students interpret and compute unit rates, and students justify solutions and explain their reasoning. So if we just look at the tiers at a glance, so one, just to get started, they're going to calculate the elapsed time, given measures, time signature, and tempo. And then in tier two, they're going to create musical introductions that meet a specific time range. And then for tier three, they're going to optimize and figure out the best plan for a specific purpose. We're gonna find that out shortly as we walk through the different tiers. Okay, and if you have a problem, if you need to like see each of these slides in a bigger slide, go ahead. You can pause and then just zoom in on your device. All right. So with tier number one, um, here's the problem. So choir passage will have 12 measures in it in 4/4 time and perform at 90 beats per minute. How many seconds will the passage last? Okay, so for entry points, we can clap the rhythm out, or we can use a table, as you can see here, and we can also go back for this formula. Now, unfortunately, ChatGPT did make this document, so I want to know that the equation is measures times beat per measure times 60 over beats per minute. Okay, I don't want you confused by that. And then, obviously, you see this table here. So all students would do is just um, take the numbers, insert them in, and then try to figure out um, what the time in seconds would be. Okay, and then for tier number two, now now that they have like a base equation to start off with, they now have to come up with two different introductions that's going to last between 20 and 40 seconds. So they just figured out what the seconds are going to be. Now they have to um, figure out a music introduction so they can hear their prompts. They can do this in between 8 to 16 measures. They can use 3/4 or 4/4 time. So for my non-musical people, 3/4 time is 1, 2, 3. 4/4 time is 1, 2, 3, 4, and they get to choose between 60 to 144 beats per minute, and then they have to show their calculation, right? So they can start with a chosen tempo, which would be here, and or they can start with a chosen number of measures, which would be here, or they can start with the time goal, right? And then which could be one of these, and then work their way backwards. All right. So there's multiple ways to get answers based on all the numbers that are here, and then they would take this a step further. Now we have to put this into practice, right? So they're the music director for a special event, and their introduction has to last between 25 and 35 seconds and match the mood. So first thing they're going to pick a mood, whether it's reflective, joyful, dramatic, energetic, or reverent. Now in this case, um, in a music classroom, um, these meanings are going to mean different things to different people. So I'm not necessarily worried about what reflective having a set definition for what reflective is. I'm more so worried about them making the best decision based on what they think these characteristics are going to be. So they have to create two different introductions, right? So let's say, for example, in tier two, I created a 3/4 time passage. This time I may create a 4/4, or I may use my 3/3 and my 4/4. If it's in between, or if I get to 35 and 35, then I can just transfer that over, right? And see if it lines up with any one of these. Um, Students would choose the best plan and justify their choice, and then they would compare with another classmate or another group So now students are not only analyzing, right, but they are also making justifications, they're making evaluations, and they're communicating. So as we're going through these tiers, okay, um, in tier one, they're applying a formula. In tier two, they're making multiple choices. And tier three, they're now becoming like experts and they're communicating why they feel the way they feel about their choices that they're making. Um, so, in terms of classroom implementation, okay, um, every student can access tier one or tier two or tier three, and we want students to explore, think, try, and if not, go back and access an easier tier or the more difficult tier if you think you got it. Sharing and reflecting is definitely important because we want to still be open to other perspectives in the room. They may have an easier way or may have a justification for why they chose a specific data point um, to study. And then also having teacher support. So for those, even if these concepts are like kind of like big, having a group, whether it's myself for them to come and get help, or if I'm having a moment to reteach, I think all that's important in the setting where we're going through a three-tier scenario. So why this activity works, just to kind of end our discussion here, we want our students to see rates as a relationship between quantities. We want students to be able to justify, compare, and critique their ideas with their peers. We want to have students have multiple entry points to engage with the content. And ultimately, we want them to deeply think. We want them to be able to make decisions, but they're making calculated decisions and have reasoning behind um, their calculated decisions. So, this is my tempo lab. Hope you enjoyed. Have any questions? Feel free to reach out. This is